Modern warehouses are highly efficient. In a warehouse like this, hundreds of thousands of separate items are moved in and out every year. Underlying the efficiency of this warehouse is a well-thought-out racking system. Similar racking is used the world over. But these familiar systems, when not treated properly, can be very dangerous. This single bay supports a weight of almost 10,000 kilograms. That's roughly the equivalent of 2 forklift trucks. And if that were to collapse, with you underneath, you would be very lucky to survive. Tragically, racking can collapse, often with fatal results. Taking a closer look at racking, it seems unbelievably fragile, given the amount of weight that it has to carry. But the way in which the components are designed actually makes it incredibly strong. Manufacturers use a relatively thin metal, the strength of which is in the shape. If this shape is changed, as happens when damaged, it loses its strength. Although these systems are well designed, safety should not be taken for granted. There have been too many collapses for that. It's a fact that the majority of accidents involve forklift trucks. Maneuvering a truck in narrow aisles requires concentration 100% of the time. But every now and again, a driver can make mistakes. This guard is supposed to protect the uprights from accidental damage. But a forklift truck has collided with it in the past, and it is now useless. This post has also been hit. Although it's only been deflected by a few millimeters off vertical, its load-bearing capability has been seriously reduced, and it now needs to be replaced. This beam has been badly dented. And here's the cause: a driver driving with a truck's mast up instead of down. Let's look at a number of real-life incidents where driving without full concentration has resulted in people being put at risk. In this example, a truck driver collided with an upright. He climbed out to investigate the damage. Often, racking will not collapse immediately after it's been hit. Not in this case. There are ways of making sure events like this don't happen. If you're driving a forklift truck and it collides with racking, don't get out of your vehicle, but tell your supervisor immediately. It's vital that the racking is assessed and, if appropriate, emptied and taken out of use straight away. Remember that any damage will weaken the racking structure and could cause an eventual collapse. Where there is damage, you should replace rather than repair. It's not worth taking any chances with safety. All replacements must be carried out by trained and competent people. Here, there is a different problem. On all beams, there should be safety locks to help prevent them from being dislodged. Safety locks may be the smallest and cheapest component, but they are absolutely essential. In this warehouse, a number of safety locks had gone missing over time. Nobody thought it mattered, but it was just a question of time before an accident occurred. An operator was stacking a high pallet, which was also damaged. The safety locks were missing, and the beam became dislodged. When the driver withdrew his forks, the beam collapsed. And the pallet came crashing down. The driver was lucky, but someone else may not be so lucky next time. So always make sure that safety locks are in place. They cost very little, but in terms of safety, they're worth the weight in gold. And only use the manufacturer's safety locks. Never replace them with bolts. If you spot any safety locks missing, then report it. There should be good clearance between pallets and also between pallets and the racking. The higher the pallet is stored, the more clearance is needed between it and the racking. This warehouse was storing large boxes containing glass components. There was insufficient clearance between the load and the beam above it. When the forklift driver tried to destack the pallet, he hit the beam above, damaging the product and dislodging the beam. Be aware of the need for adequate clearance. If you spot a potential danger, report it. On another occasion, an incident occurred because stray shrink wrap was left hanging loose. It became caught between two pallets. Oblivious to this, a driver tried to destack a pallet, pulling another one with it. At that warehouse, the employees are now scrupulous about good housekeeping. They clear up rubbish and debris, and they don't leave anything lying around to block aisles. A number of industries suffer accidents simply because they load too much weight onto their racking. They fail to comply with the notices on the ends of each run, which state the maximum beam and bay loading. The load notices are valid for specific positions of beams. Storage systems may look adjustable, but the positions of beams should never be changed without first checking with the manufacturers. This is to ensure that the overall stability of the structure will not be adversely affected. For example, raising the lowest beam in this bay actually reduces the bay's total loading capacity by about 1,200 kilos. Warehouses that don't bother to check with the manufacturers about changes to beam positions risk suffering collapses. You're about to witness an accident. Down this run, there is a dislodged beam. And the load in the end bay exceeds the manufacturer's recommendations. A forklift truck driver is distracted by a friend. He collides with the racking, but there's not much apparent damage, and they both decide to ignore it. Moments later, at the other end of the run, a truck catches an upright. The shock shudders through the run and causes a collapse. What you have just seen need never happen in warehouses where you work. And it won't if everyone follows simple safety procedures, particularly damage reporting and accident reporting. Sometimes people don't fill in reports because they're worried about being blamed for what's happened. Of course, damage shouldn't happen in the first place, but when it does, make sure action is taken. However insignificant the damage may seem, when it accumulates, the whole structure becomes weaker and more susceptible to collapse. Regular inspections should be carried out at least once a month. An independent specialist in racking safety should carry out an inspection at least once a year. On a daily basis, we should make every effort to avoid the mistakes that have led to accidents in the past. Careful forklift truck driving is essential. Drivers need 100% concentration. That's what makes it such a demanding job. Keep checking that safety locks are in place. Make sure that there is adequate clearance between pallets and the racking. Also, check the stability of pallet loads and make sure items will not fall off. Aisles should be kept clear of rubbish and debris. Never overload racking. Never adjust the positioning of beams without first checking back with the manufacturer or supplier. Always report damage. By doing these things, you'll be helping to make sure that racking systems are safe. And that means you'll be safe, and so will your colleagues.